sometimes I may feel like I'm in the back burner,
Right.
but it's not really that. It's we're evolving as humans, which is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, you're marrying the unknown, and you know, again, like, how do men deal with that? How do women deal with that? So it's never a thing where it's just a one script, one blueprint. You're continuously trying to figure things out, communication, and I want to have real conversations about how people deal with these things.
Yeah.
Yo, we live and back in the building inside the mind. I am your host, John Reese, and we are blessed with our first classic physique guy to come on Inside the Mind. My man has been in the business for a long time, man, since 2015, turned pro in 2021, have 4 overall wins as an amateur, did 7 national shows, and I know he loved doing them national shows out there in his hometown, the Carolinas. Man, so 6 pro shows in total, had 2 top 5 placements, man, and I feel another one coming very soon. Hopefully my man gets the dub. My guy Jared the Keys in the building.
Man, what's going on?
And welcome, man. First and foremost, definitely appreciate you coming on. And like I was telling you, taking time out of your prep, because like you said, you are 19 days out. I know it's brain fog and all kind of stuff going on right now, man. So I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Man, it feels really, really good to, get opportunities like this. So thank you very much,
Absolutely, man. So first and foremost, with your show and everything you got going on, I know you're a family man, because like I said, I'm a fan, man. I follow you. How are you doing mentally these days, man?
Mentally, honestly, I'm feeling pretty strong mentally. There definitely were some, hard moments, definitely some, times you get in your head and things like that. But I can say that, I feel like the dark part of prep, the dark side of prep, is people, kind of think of when you're in your head, when you're feeling negative and stuff like that. I feel like that's pretty much over. I feel like I'm just ready to present myself.
That's what's up, man. He went them dark side of preps. You got to shake out of it sometimes. I get it, man. So like, you on your way. If any side note, go on his Instagram right now. Y'all gonna see it flash across the bottom when we do the editing and all that. Y'all gonna see my man's quads look crazy. I just seen it literally before I got on here. He's looking crazy, bro. So yeah, you well on your way, man. But tell me, what actually got you started in the bodybuilding? You going on almost a decade, bro, in about 2 years. Like, what got you started?
It's crazy to think that it's almost been a decade, man. But to get right into it, I played football, all through high school, middle school, things like that. And, it was my dream to play, to be a professional athlete. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
Dream to be a professional athlete. And playing football was great, but I was always undersized. I was always, a small guy. I'm short, 5'6", had a hard time putting on muscle. So with that being said, I got cut from the freshman, football team, my freshman year. And thereon, I kind of honestly just fell in love with the process of training. Fell in love with the process of spending time in the gym. I fell in love with building muscle, all those good things like that. And I was able to gain 20 pounds that first year. Obviously not all muscle, but 20 pounds of, pretty solid weight. I was faster, I was stronger going into that next season. So long story short, football got really good for me. Things got good. I started to get a little bit of college attention here and there, but I wasn't even a starter. So with that being said, that definitely held me back. My high school, man, it's crazy. I tell people all the time. In my high school, the starting running back, he ran like a 4.2. And we had a split offense, so we had 2 running backs, and they both. One of my training partners for track and football, as well as Grant Holloway, who's an Olympic, one of the best Olympic hurdlers of all time, actually.
Yes, sir.
So to put things really, really short, I had a very hard time trying to get my reps in with those guys. I was running a 4.34, and that's middle of the road. That was like laser time. That was middle of the road where I come from. from Virginia. I'm actually from Virginia, 757. So shout out to
Oh,
everybody
that's
there.
what's up. Shout out to the VA.
That's
Yeah.
great, man. But with that being said, I didn't get the attention towards the end of college, and I realized, okay, I'm either going to go to a college, prefer walk on, or maybe a small, offer here and there, and really, really have to fight my way up, and just have to prove myself over and over and over and over again. And I feel like my talents were not being shown. I felt like
Mm,
there was a lot of ways that I could have actually played and still got my name out there. But, instead of that, I was going to combines, going to camps, doing all that kind of stuff to get my name out there. And every time I went, the coaches were, they're impressed. They liked what they saw. But it's like, okay, we need to see game tape. We need to see footage. And it's like, well,
mm-hmm.
only got so much. So long story short, man, I met this fitness model guy, Brian Lewis, at the mall. And he was doing a table for Opti Nutrition. And I was like, okay, what's up with this, man? How do you find yourself in a position like that? And he was like, I do fitness competitions. I do, men's physique at the time. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, that's very interesting. Men's physique had literally just came out like the year before. It was like 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I was like, okay, what? Like, I think that I'm gonna try that. The biggest thing that drew me in was that, no matter how, I guess you could say, no matter how good I was, people would get to see it. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be like, I have to go here and hope that this person puts me on the team or hopes that this person, lets me get the play time. Instead, it was like, okay, I'm in total control. If I'm that good, I'm just that good. That's all there is to it. I hired my first coach, Coach Q, here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And he taught me old school bodybuilding. He was a multiple time national ranking guy from the early 2000s. So, it was a real big muscle guy. He's still bigger than me
Mm-hmm.
today. I think my arms might be the same size, but everything else is huge. So, with that being said, he taught me the old school way. I did men's physique for about 2 to 3 years. And once Classic came out, I was like, okay, it only makes sense for me to, start to transition into that. But I think that's pretty much the story of what got me into bodybuilding, initially.
Got you. So you were initiated way before classic physique, clearly. Was there any, I guess, like hesitancy in sense to say, hey, maybe I should stay in this lane, or was you like soon as classic come out, like I'm on it?
That's a great question, brother. So the first year I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to do it, but I'm too small. I was doing okay in men's physique. I get, first and second at like smaller shows, and then I get like first call outs at bigger shows. And we're talking local and region. We're not talking nationals or anything like that.
Right.
But I just kind of I kind of honestly I kind of held myself back that first year the classic came out. It was 20, I think it was 2016 for the amateurs. But the year after that, my roommate, who's a bodybuilder as well, he was a natural bodybuilder, so we did all that kind of stuff. He was like, "You need to do classic. You have to show off your quads. You have to show off your quads." And I was just like, "Man, like I'm not trying to go out there and get smoked by these guys. I don't think I'm big enough. This, that, and the third." Well, long story short, with that, I did my first classic show in 2017. It was the Border Clash in South Carolina. So I'm sure you guys may or may not have known. That's a big show, man. That's a really big show in South Carolina, especially back then. I remember Boston Lloyd was there. Like it was a lot of really big names.
All
But
right.
yeah, and so the year prior, I did that show and I got absolutely smoked. I think I got like 8th place. Which to me, I was smoked because I wanted to be top 5. I was always top 5 men's physique, no matter what show I did.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I got 8th, took that year off and then came back. And I think I got 8th again the next year in men's physique, but I actually got 5th in classic. So I was like, okay, maybe this is the lane that I need to stick with. And then, the rest of that season, I went almost undefeated. I got first at the East Coast Classic, which is in Maryland. Then I got first at the Linda Murray Norfolk, and then I got dead last at the Universe.
Jeez, let's actually talk about that, because again, like I had a competitor who went up this past week at North Americas, and he experienced a lot of winning initially in the local shows, and then as we all know, there's levels to it from local to nationals, and then to kind of translate that to you did 7 national shows, man, and you finally was able to pretty much crack it, and not just crack it, you cracked the overall in 2021. What mentally allowed you to keep pushing after showing up after so many national shows?
That's such a good question, man. After that first 2017 Team Universe, I thought I was gonna quit bodybuilding. I thought I was done.
Wow.
Like I made the YouTube video and everything. But with that being said, I met my fiance Stacy, and she kind of was just like, you know what, like, you loved it so much, you might as well just try it again. And she was like, let's just do one more prep, just do one more prep. And I was like, okay, we'll do one more prep. And I ended up winning the overall at the Linda Murray, so that was my first overall actually in classic physique. And honestly, from that point on, I was just like, you know what? Like, if I could win an overall after thinking that I was done, I wasn't lifting weights for like 3 months. I was eating McDonald's every day, that kind of thing like that.
Uh-huh.
So I went from that to winning the overall, and I was like, okay, maybe just maybe I should stick with this, and I should give this a little bit more, serious thought. That was
Okay.
2018. So in terms of like keeping the mentality strong and going after, each show after show, I think that like the little wins here and there definitely helped, definitely helped me continue to build confidence. But at the same time too, I was building myself up on social media a lot during that time. And, negativity is positivity. There was a lot of really, really, I'd say successful people that said that I was going to turn pro. My coach Q, Coach Q, my first coach, back in 20, I think it had to be like the first year. He was like, "You're gonna be a pro, man." And he just said it straight up like that. This is a guy who went to multiple national shows, seventh, ninth, got good placings, and he was having a hard time. This is the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life at that point. He said, "You're gonna turn pro." He said, "You'll get it sooner than later." Plain and simple. That's how he said it. He said I was gonna get it before 21, but that was also, in the mindset of doing men's physique. Obviously, I didn't get it right at 21. I got it at 23. But with that being said, there was a lot of I guess you could say like foreshadowing with that. I had Coach Q. I had other coaches, that always had positive things to say. I had, obviously, the fans are going to say, yeah, you're going to turn pro, you're going to turn pro. And as a young kid, I was just like, okay, if all these people think I'm going to turn pro, obviously, it's something that I'm meant to be doing in the future. But I'm trying to think, man. I'm really, really trying to think. Honestly, like where I knew that I could turn pro was probably after that overall, because we did that. We won that overall, and then I went over to National Night of Champions, which was a show all the way in Tennessee. I was just like, well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. So I did the Lee Haney Championship before that, and I got second place to a guy named Miguel. He's one of the best Masters Classic guys out right now.
Okay.
He beat me, and I was snubbed. I was snubbed by that, but I was like, whatever. I'll keep my head down. I'll keep grinding. I, completely random. I didn't even tell my coach at the time. We went to Tennessee. I pulled out to Tennessee. I lowered my cars. I did all the cardio. I sent pictures of my coach. I was like, hey, we're doing this show tomorrow.
Yo.
And then we won
That's
the overall.
crazy, man. And you won though? That's crazy, bro.
Then we won the overall. So I was just like, okay, man, I needed something going into my first national or my second national show to, kind of just build up that momentum, build up that mentality. And then I did the nationals. It was a stacked class, man. There was so many, people always say it was a stacked class. But I'm trying to tell you, man, like the dude that won, Trey, man, his arms had to be damn near 20 inches. Classic, man.
And this is what I be talking about, man. Like like when we say, it's so cliche to say levels, but you could literally just said it. Like you literally went to a local show, which wasn't local for you, but you went to a local regional show and just off a whim won the overall. And then you go to nationals, it's just like, okay, everyone's here to up their game. You see what I'm saying? So like and it's levels, man. So kudos to you in that, and then just to keep driving and forcing your way through, bro. Like seriously,
Thank
man.
you, man. Honestly, that was a show for me where I was just like, okay, I could place at this, I could do this. You know what I'm saying? And Trey even had some nice positive things to say. This guy, man, when you turned around, everybody just looked at him. He was that good. He was just that good. But even hearing positive things from him, just kind of gave me that forward momentum. Do you want me to talk more about my national shows, or do you want?
No, you good, you good. Like as far as because when you did turn pro, like you finally knocked yourself through that proverbial door, in a sense that like we're all chasing that pro card. Tell me a little bit about what it meant to you as far as the chase to finally get it, like how that felt, what it meant, what did you feel, what were your thoughts?
Man, it was absolutely breathtaking. It was absolutely breathtaking. I'll tell it like this: I had a lot of confidence going into the show because Matt Jansen was my coach at the time, and
Mm.
we started working together at 6 weeks out. He told me like literally a week or two after that, you're gonna win. He was like, you're gonna win. I was just like, what classic middleweight? He was like, both. I was like, okay.
Wow. Shout out to Matt.
Yeah, he really he showed me what it took to reach that next level. Because the thing is, a lot of times when we're getting ready for shows, especially at the national level, we're amateurs, we don't understand the level of conditioning that it takes, man. I remember texting Matt Jansen one time. I was just like, yo, like I feel like horrible, I feel bad every single day. He was like, you're not dying. He was like, you're not dying, just keep
Yeah, I
working.
bet it felt like it in the moment. I know
Man,
it
oh my
did.
gosh, brother. Like it was crazy. But we brought my best conditioning at that point. That year, the week before, a week and a half before the Junior USA's, I actually won the overall the Palmetto Classic. Everybody there was like, you're gonna turn pro. You're gonna turn pro. The judges actually said that I was gonna turn pro the next week in Junior.
That's
They
crazy,
said, I asked them, I said, what can I do to improve between now and Junior USA's? They said nothing. They said, you're going to win. They said,
hey,
literally bring the same exact physique that you brought to the show and you win. And I
that's
won.
what's up, man.
Yeah, that was actually my fourth overall at that show before the Junior USA's.
Okay. So yeah, you went from a lot of winning, climbing the top of that mountain to now pretty much at the bottom of the
Back on the tape.
molehill, back on the chase, man. So my question to you is, with having that experience with the chase, talk to me a little bit about the mindset you need to have to continue that chase, knowing you was just at the top of the mountain and now you're back down as a pro now.
Great question, man. So the first week after I turned pro, everybody says to take it in, enjoy the moment, enjoy it, have a good time. But I had this reoccurring thought in my head. I was like, I'm a pro now. Like, what does that mean? What do I do? What does that mean? What do I do? And it bothered me so much. I even asked my coach. I was just like, I'm a pro, but like, so what? What do I need to do now? And long story short, we were going to do a prep for the Linda Murray Pro, which was the last one, which I'm disappointed I missed in Norfolk. But about 6 weeks out from that show, I just realized I was like, yo, like I've been going hard since February. I can't keep going at this rate, because obviously as a pro, you got to go even harder. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring in better.
Mhm.
And here I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I bring my Junior USA conditioning, we'll be fine. Matt was like, no. He was like, you need to be like more lean than that even. And I was just like, oh my God, okay. And I just realized, and it was so much pressure on myself. It was so much pressure on myself that I talked to Matt, and I was just like, hey man, like, I need to stop, I need to stop this prep. I need to, rest, recuperate, and come back to the next season. And long story short, that was the reset that I needed. I kind of think about it as like a bow and an arrow. You need to pull back to be able to shoot forward. Um, I went into my off season. I was self-coached, basically, at that point, went into my off season. I was just like, okay, I need to grow. I need to focus. I need to grow. And I ended up doing the Boston Pro as my pro debut.
Mm.
I did Boston Pro. I got ninth there. I think no, I got seventh there. It was stacked, man. Urs Kalsinski was there. Tony was there. I'm trying to think. There was some really, really solid guys. Lamar Shaw, some good guys, really good guys, Olympians, all Olympians that were there. So, I got seventh there out of nine. I beat a few guys, but at the same time too, I definitely needed to put on some size and bring some improvement. So, we're right back at the bottom, once again. I did the Houston Tournament Champions, and I got ninth there, but I ended up beating probably one or two more people than I beat in Boston. And
Okay.
then I finally got third place at the Warrior Classic in Richmond. But, at that point, I was still so new to the game. I didn't know what I didn't know, all those kind of things like that we kind of say in bodybuilding. But, I was just so hungry. Like, I was like, okay, I need to put my name out there. I need, like, when I come back next season, I want them to know who I am. And, that was last year. So I took 3 months off. I tore my quad. And then I tore my quad while training. Because I was actually 6 weeks out from the Southwest Muscle Classic. I just wanted to keep running the gauntlet. Like I said, just put my name out there. So that was a big setback. It definitely felt like, damn, like that's going to hold me back a lot. But thankfully for my chiropractic team, my therapy team, Health First 757, they brought me back, and I was able to compete, you know, in that 6 weeks. And my legs actually, they weren't bigger, but they looked just as good as they did, you know, previously in the season. Um, I got fifth at the Southwest Muscle Classic. Beat some guys there, and then I got eighth at the what was it, the Savannah Pro, so eighth, you know, first.
Mm-hmm. That's a big show.
Yeah, man. And then I got dead last in San Antonio.
So wait a minute. Well, hold on. What I'm hearing is like these setbacks, right? So a torn quad and you still went up and you still cracked top 5 damn near, and you went through a couple more shows and then you got dead last. So those are, I would like to say, 2 setbacks. So how do you manage those as far as like when setbacks happen? Because as bodybuilders, like we all go through that in a sense. Like even last year, like I was having like gut issues, and well, I would say 2 years ago, really, I was having gut issues and I was still trying to like figure it out. So when you have these setbacks, like what are you telling yourself so you can continue to move forward?
Man, if anything, I just kind of have to tell myself, you know, you're still doing this for a reason. You know, you're still supposed to be here. These setbacks are literally made to just make you stronger. It's hard at first, you know, it really, really is hard at first. You know, you want to cry, you want to give up, you want to say, I'm done. You want to tell your friends, you know, I'm not doing this anymore. But at the end of the day, you know, after the tour and quad, I saw that as an opportunity. I was like, okay, I'm gonna restructure my training. I'm gonna learn how to train legs all over again. You know, I'm gonna learn how to
Mm.
actually train my quads right, because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to recover. That's the only way. So I went, you know, in the gym, and I just, you know, I came with that same fresh mentality. I'm here to learn. I'm eager to learn. I need to learn as much as I possibly can. So I slowed down my training. I lowered all my weights. You know, I just really, really focused on the connection, the squeeze, all that kind of stuff like that. And then if anything, it made me excited. I was just like, okay, great. Like I can still train, you know, not heavy, nothing near where I could. I'm still barely as strong as I was, you know, before that injury now.
That's
uh,
crazy, bro.
but with that being said, man, there was that. Then after San Antonio, man, I definitely felt like pretty snubbed, because I was like, damn, like, I felt like that was my best physique that I brought the whole entire year. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I used that as momentum, and I just said, you know what? Like when I come back next season, like they're either gonna recognize me because, you know, social media, whatever the case might be, or they're not, because I'm gonna look so different. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So different. And that was my mentality between every single show last year too. Every single show, you know, I got feedback from Bill. The first 3 shows, Bill said that the first show, he said, you know, you need to come in tighter. You need to have a little bit more fullness. You need more size. So then I saw him in Houston. He said, you know, you look a little bit better, but you need to do those same exact things. I did the Warrior Classic, and he said, you did exactly what I told you to.
Hey man, your bounce back is tremendous, bro. Like I commend you on those things, because even for me, like it's like one of those things where like I tore my whole knee in 2016. This is prior to bodybuilding, and I was like down in the dumps for a minute. Like I'm hopping around on crutches, making all kind of stuff in the kitchen that I ain't even supposed to be making, putting on weight, like just throwing myself like a whole like pity party. So, but there has to be some type of connection mentally to be like, you know what, I'm better than this. And just
You
like
got
you
to pull
said, like
yourself.
you go ahead, say that again.
I'm sorry. I said you got to pull yourself out of it.
There you go. Yeah, you have to. So you've done that multitude of times throughout your career. So I salute you on that, man. So how is it knowing you brought your best package to San Antonio, but it wasn't what the judges were looking for? Like, how are you dealing with the subjectivity of the judging as far as like your mental capacity?
I'm not gonna lie, man. That's definitely one of the hardest things as a pro. It really, really is, because, you know, some people kind of brought it up, but it's like, you know, different judges have a different preference for their look. You know, I think at the end of the day, IFBB professional judges are, they're just that. They're IFBB professional judges. But at the end of the day, if this specific judge likes to see people come in really, really big, and they're not as focused on the conditioning as another judge, you know what I'm saying? That might be the reason why you don't get first call out. So that might be the reason why you win. Um, you know, so with that being said, my mentality behind it is just you have to be undeniable. You know, and it's like people say that all the time, but it's like, what does undeniable really, really mean? Like, what does it mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, as a pro classic physique guy, to be undeniable, in my personal opinion, you need to have absolutely incredible conditioning. you have to be big. You have to be big all the way throughout your physique. There can't be any body parts that stand out. You have to have amazing posing. You have to be able to hold your poses. You have to be able to, not just have good posing and hold your poses. You have to know what poses work for you, and you have to know your competition. You have to know who you're competing against. If I'm standing next to Robert Timms, I'm not going to do a front double bicep or a front single bicep. It's my classic pose. I'm just not going to. If I'm standing next to Terrence, I probably shouldn't do any kind of side or front, tricep type of work. If I'm standing next to Urs, try not to get conditioned, out conditioned.
Man,
Things
my
like
man
that.
dropping them gems on y'all. He do his homework. I'm telling you. Look.
But with that being said, the best way to combat against that and the subjectivity of bodybuilding is to come in absolutely undeniable. Because at the end of the day, the judges are going to pick the best competitor to win. I mean, I don't think that ever doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I think the judges almost, 99.9% of the time in pro shows, they pick the best competitor to win. And it's like, okay, if you didn't win, there's improvements that we need to make.
There you go. And it's always improvements, you know what I mean? Like whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, like there's always improvements to make, you know what I mean? And like you said, like we're in this forever chase of like being undeniable, right? So how are you able to balance the fact of chasing this sense of perfection versus okay, I got 1% better every day? Like how do you not rush that process and not mentally get in your head about where you're at physically as far as your physique?
A really good question, man. I would say, like, for me personally, I like to kind of keep track of my progress, year round. So it's like day to day, month to month, year to year, things like that. And it's like if I can see, one of the things I'm trying to think, my boy JS Aesthetics on Instagram, he said it pretty plainly to me. He said, or not to me, but he said it, just out loud. People were asking questions. And he said, you don't want to be marginally better. You do not be marginally better. So if I look at my physique from this time last year and this time, and now, I can't look at my physique and say, okay, like that only improved a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If that's true, then in reality, there's a lot that we need to fix. You're not becoming undeniable. But the thing is, if you can take your physique from, I'd say 3 to 6 months, in the past and compare it to now, if you see, noticeable, not marginal, but very noticeable improvements, you know that you're on track and you know that you're becoming undeniable. But in order to achieve that, you just have to be improving on a day-to-day basis, like we talked about, mentally, especially mentally. I believe that the transformation happens mentally before it starts to happen physically. One of the things that I was kind of thinking about, before this podcast was it's just when you're prepping for a bodybuilding competition, to reach the level that you reached last time, it should feel easier because
Okay.
you're not supposed to be there anymore. So in terms of conditioning, right? If you brought, let's just throw random arbitrary numbers. If you were 6% conditioned on stage last year and you felt like horrible, leading up to that, you should feel a little bit better at 6% body fat. You know what I'm saying? You should feel a little bit better this time around. That's another way to measure if you're actually making solid improvements. That's the mental aspect. Bodybuilding, like we talked about, is a very mental sport. Mentally speaking, if you can't handle what you did before, you're regressing. If you feel like what you did before is equally as hard, you're probably regressing.
Okay. That's a great perspective, man. I never thought of it that way. And partially it's just because I'm more of the all right, like the cliche term that Hunter uses, like win the day. I just literally try to focus on the day, especially when you get in those like the dark days of prep. It's just like, all right, you just got to be great today, be great for this moment. But I'm never recollecting, where I was at in my last prep to see, okay, this is where I was at. So that's actually something I may have to foster for myself, because that actually will give me, a sense of awareness of where I'm at versus where I was.
I like that.
So,
But I love to win the day as well. I mean, that's one thing that's gotten me through this prep as well. But I say it like this, man, if you win the day every single day, you almost don't even have to look back at that point, because the thing is, it's like, okay, you went to the gym, you knew you had to beat the numbers from last time, right? You had to beat last Monday, numbers. If you do
mhm.
that, you already won. You're in the right track. The thing is, you just have to be consistent with that. Every single week, you have to be beating your numbers, or maybe, I'm saying, say for instance, you go for a squat 415, you get it for 8 reps, right? Last,
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this week, you should get it for 9. Like, why not? I'm saying, why not? If you get it for 9 this week, next week, you should get it for 10. You go to 12, you might reset and go, let's go 420. All right. I get 420 for 8. I'm saying that's it. I think that bodybuilding preps, like the mentality of a progressive overload in terms of in the gym, that applies to everything that we do: dieting, training, posing. I'm saying every little aspect that we do is a progressive overload. So you're absolutely right about winning the day. If you win the day, you're progressively overloading every single day.
That's a fact. Y'all better listen to my guy Jared here dropping gems. Yeah, that's actually gonna make it a little bit more easier, for me and anyone that that's listening, as far as how to capture the moment in a sense. Like, you get so tunnel vision on, all right, I have a show October 8th. All right, I just got to make it to October 8th. I just got to make it. Like, oh, October 8th is so far away. Like, you get so caught up in the actual date versus, dude, it's barely September 4th.
That's right.
Like, and that kind of puts it in perspective, man. So that's actually good, man. But I want to transition to, your fiance, who you was talking about, and talk about pretty much your support system, because I noticed you post a lot about your family, and I think that's a beautiful thing, man. Tell me how important family is to you and how they help you kind of stay mentally on track for your shows.
I'll say it like this, man. My family is my biggest why. And the reason why I say that, the biggest motivation, the biggest reason why I do what I do, I'm trying to provide the best life that I possibly can for them, plain and simple. And I feel like this is the opportunity that I've been given by God, by the universe, by everybody, by everything, in order to be able to do that. So the thing is, I believe that a lot of times in life, we kind of put our heads down and we just say, you know what, I got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do. And the thing is, I read the book Mastery by Robert Greene. And one of the things that he talks about is, if you don't love what you're doing, you're never going to be a master. You're never going to be great at it. You're never going to really, really, truly be the best that you're supposed to be at anything. So I
Mm.
feel that to say, bodybuilding to me has always been that mastery, that chasing that mastery. I don't enjoy anything other than, spending time with my family and going out to eat with them more than I love bodybuilding. I don't love anything more than bodybuilding. So the thing is, if I say, you know what, I'm gonna go be an accountant. I'm gonna go be a doctor of XYZ, or I'm gonna go do XYZ otherwise, I'm not gonna be as good at it as I could potentially be in bodybuilding, because I just don't love it as much.
No, makes sense.
Now, in
Yeah.
terms of family and the why, the thing is, every time, I want to give up, or I want to, lower that cardio, I want to, eat more carbs, whatever the case might be. I just literally think, I'm like, I'm taking money out of their pocket if I do that.
Mm.
I'm taking money out of their pocket. I'm missing out on sponsorships. I'm missing out on deals. I'm missing out on, opportunities like this to grow myself and, to go out there. I mean, who wants to podcast, the guy who, gives up on his prep every single time?
I hear you on that for sure, and I could like your work ethic is second to none, bro. Like, you're always posting your updates, no matter where you're at in prep, off season. You can always count on you posting the updates to show, like, hey, you're putting in the work. You're putting in the work. But even within that work, where does where do you find the balance in home life and the work that you have to put in for yourself to in bodybuilding?
So going back to, family, like that's a great question, man. Stacy, man, like her and I, we're like a perfect team. She can come in and see that, okay, he's having a bad day. His prep is kicking his tail. So, on days like that, she'll kind of take the lead. Or most days, she'll kind of take the lead and, okay, Zora, my daughter, let's go play in your room. Let's go do XYZ. Let's go on a walk. That's actually what they're doing right now, is they're on a walk because they wanted to give me, the house and everything to be able to do this.
Yeah,
But
shout out to them. Shout out to
oh
them,
my
man,
gosh,
for
man.
sure.
So that's part of the balance. But the other part of the balance too is, it's like, okay, when I get to that point, when I finally snap back into gear, because the thing is, we get so locked in that we don't even know like how we're acting, how we're feeling. We don't understand. And the thing is, I'm getting better at it. I think that that's important as a professional. We do have to get better at understanding how we are and how we feel and how we act and how we, respond to people. I think that that's very important as a professional. But at the end of the day, when I realize that I've gone too far into that dark mode, that dark zone, I have to take a step back and I tell Stacey, I love you. I appreciate you. I see everything that you do. Thank you for washing the dishes. Thank you for, playing with Zora all day today. Thank you for doing XYZ. I think that that's probably the smallest thing that I can do. Beyond that, it's like, okay, when we can eat, it's like, okay, let's go out, let's go, get something to eat. Let's eat what you can eat, what I can eat and what you want to eat, different things like that. That's a small part. Another part I would say with the work and the family life is, it's just we spend every day together. I'm saying every single day together for the most part. So it's like, you know, with that being said, we kind of just get into the position where it's like, okay, it's monotonous, but at the end of the day too, we kind of, we get in the moment, we just say, you know what, like, I appreciate you. I'm really, really happy to be here with you. My favorite thing every single day, this prep at this point, is literally getting all my work done, I'm saying, handling all my tasks and sitting down on the couch and just watching TV with her. My daughter Zora, eating my chicken and rice and my oatmeal and my steak, things like that. That is the number one thing that I look forward to every single day. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a few days this past month, the dark zone, where I'm just like, okay, I'm too anxious, I'm too uptight. I can't do this right now. I need to have some time to myself. But the thing is, where we need to catch ourselves as bodybuilders, I don't say that. I just start to act more aggressively. I just start to get a little bit more mad, or I get a little snappy, as people say. I'm firing back. Little things like that. Like, oh, do you have to eat that right now? Little things like that. And it's like, okay, that's where you pull yourself back. That's where you pull yourself back and you say, you know what? I love you. I appreciate you. You want to eat an acai bowl with granola on it and all this fruit, and I'm smelling it. Like that shouldn't bother me. So in reality, I have to sometimes, I get a little annoyed, eating the bagels, the blueberry bagels, all that good stuff. And I'm just, but then I put myself back and I say, you know what? I'm choosing to do this right now. Why should they suffer because I'm choosing to do this?
Yeah, that you hit it right on the nose, man. And it like so y'all two have great teamwork. I'm gonna tell you like this little side story. This is like when I first got into bodybuilding. I think it was like going into my second show. So I think I was 2 weeks out. Again, your mandatory chicken rice stuff. And then my wife warms up this cookie, like chocolate galore. And I'm just like, yo, I don't say nothing. And then we sit at the table and I'm eating. Take this. I'm looking at the spoon literally melt into the cookie, bro. And I'm like, yo, you gotta eat that right now. And she
Facts.
was
Yeah,
like, you chose to do this, not me.
that's right.
And I was like, you know what? You're right.
I
Like
really love that.
you absolutely right.
I really love that, she said that too, man. Like, I think that it's important that our partners keep us accountable. I'm saying Stacey, she's a little bit more timid. So, she's not the one to say, you chose to do this. She's more like, oh, I'm sorry. And then when I see that, I'm just like, damn, like, it's like a kick to the heart. It's just like, yo, like, why did I say that? I'm sorry, Stacey, enjoy your food.
Yeah, and like they all got their way of, relaying a message to us just based off them being around us, enough to know us. Like I'm more of the you gotta literally throw it in my face type. And that's literally what it was. Like I wanted the I wasn't mad at the fact that she was eating the cookie. I was mad at the fact that I couldn't have it. So it
That's
had nothing to do with her. You see
that's
what I'm saying? So and like you said, we got to step back out of that and realize like, hey, yeah, you got to chill, bro.
That's the internal locus of control. That's the internal locus of control. I follow a lot of philosophy and things like that, and I feel like we can't control the circumstances, but we can't control our reactions. We can control our feelings even to some degree. Obviously, that has to be built up over time. But the thing is, people always ask, like, how do you go through these preps? And you're not crabby, you're not just mean all the time. And it's like because one, I remember that I want to do this. I always tell people, I choose to do this. I want to do this. I'm glad to be doing this. I'm blessed to be doing this. This is my opportunity. And then two,
Mhm.
the truth of the matter is we have to control what we can control. And the thing is, our feelings, like I said, not at first, that first initial, oh, why are you eating that? That's hard. That's very hard to control. That's built up over time. But every time that we look back and we say, you know what, I was wrong for that, we're creating a potential for us to not do that again in the future. That's how we control our feelings.
Exactly, man. So, and honestly, it's gotten easy. Like, what the funny thing is, who has made it easier is my daughter, because she don't know what I'm doing, but
That's
she'll eat donuts all day if she could. And she love Krispy Kreme just like I do. But
that's
she'll
right.
go, "Look, daddy, I got a donut." And I'm
Oh,
just like, you don't even know what I want to do to you right now. Like, you playing. But it turns into like this funny thing. It's just like she don't even know like what I'm going through. But I think she's just happy that she just has a donut. So that put it in a whole another perspective. Like, it
yeah,
don't
she's
matter literally what's around me. I have to control me and choose how I choose to react. So you're absolutely right on that, man.
man, she's happy that she has a donut. And she's happy that she's sharing that, that happiness, that moment with you.
Right, because I can be stupid and be like, "You know what? You can't eat that," and that's just the most selfish thing in the world. Then I'll feel like crap, like,
That's right. Taking
forever,
candy from a
probably.
baby.
Man, for literally, like, so, man, Imma hit you with 3 quick hitters before we head up out of here, man. You did give a lot of, wisdom, but if there's anything else you can give back to those who are kind of going through some things in their, bodybuilding career and wondering if this is the thing for them. What is some words of advice you can give them?
I would say, you have to remember your why. So, the quickest thing, you have to remember your why. Why are you doing this? If you're doing it for vanity, if you're doing it for fame, if you're doing it to be, get Instagram likes or get clout or things like that, you're doing it for the wrong reason. But if you can find a
Mhm.
reason beyond that as to why you're doing this, then you should just keep it going. Keep it going, keep going. You're doing it for a reason at that point.
Absolutely, man. Like, that why is so important, man. And it doesn't have to be similar to anyone else's why, but that why needs to stick.
That's right.
Like, I used to use this slogan, like, there's no I until you define why.
I like
And what
that.
I mean by that is like, all right, your identity is in the purpose of why you're doing stuff. So that I used to use that term all the time. I probably need to get back to that because sometimes I can lose track of my whys. But
You got to make it a
yeah,
t-shirt, bro.
man, I need to do something. 'Cause, man, but secondly, if there's besides the Olympia, I feel like you're on your way. But besides the Olympia, if there's a show you have circled that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna win this show before my bodybuilding career is over, what show is that?
That's such a good question. I never really thought about it like that. I definitely want to win a New York Pro. That's for sure. Shout out to Steve. I want to win a New York Pro,
Ooh.
and I want to win Pittsburgh too. Shout out to the Mains. I want both.
Hey, man, I both of those are on my checklist as well. I think next year I'll be hitting I don't want to hit both of them because they're literally week
A week
back to
apart.
back. Yeah, I hate that, but whatever. Uh, I think I'm gonna end up hitting the Pittsburgh Pro first, and then I'm gonna double back the following year. So hopefully, man, I can link up with you, brother,
Yes,
and then
sir,
we'll
man.
see what happens. And then last but not least, this is a dialogue that I want to continue moving forward with all divisions, man. So if there's two people you can think of that can, jump on the podcast and enhance this conversation, who would it be?
Man, so for a classic physique guy, I would say Anthony Barbera. I think that,
Hey.
yeah, I think that him and I have very similar stories. We're not very similar, but similar enough stories where we've been up, we've been down, we've been up, we've been down, we've been up, we've been down. So he's definitely the first person that comes to mind. And then another person, I'm trying to think. My guy Eric Brown, EB, Eric Brown. He won. I can't remember the name of the show, but it was over in LA this past year.
Okay.
But he's a 757 guy too. He lives over there now. But with that being said, I think that he's another like he's a really really good, a genuine dude, and I think that he's on the rise. He's on the come up. He's an Olympian now, so I think that he can share a lot of interesting perspectives. He's a great coach. He coaches women, men, everybody. So definitely him as well. Those are two guys. There's a bunch of other guys, so no hard feelings.
Yeah, nah, you good, man. I limited to two because we could be here all day mentioning names,
Just listen
man.
them all.
So the trick is my man Jared is gonna send me y'all grams and information. He gonna help me get y'all on this show, man. So that's the trick for the two people that you announced, man. But man, appreciate you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your side of things as far as how you think, your perseverance. That's one thing I got from this is your resiliency, consistency, and your ability to persevere through all the ups and downs, man. You're well put together, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. That's really an honor, man. And I can honestly say the same for you, man.
Man, appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely.
I gotta persevere next year for sure. My pro debut I bombed, but I'm channeling the right energy, especially doing this podcast, to be in the right space to do what I need to do next year, man. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Sir, man. Hey, I mean, you're doing this podcast and you're gonna do another show, so you're gonna do more shows. So that right there is everything, man. It's
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, we'll see
leveling
y'all
up.
oh my God. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.